Imagine waking up one day and realizing there's no one else in the world. The streets are empty, the cities are silent, no cars, no planes, no signs of human life. Now imagine all of humanity just vanishes. No wars, no warnings, no disasters, just a collective and instant disappearance. What would happen to the planet? How would Earth react to our absence? Would buildings hold up? Would animals take over everything? Would nature take back what was hers? In this video, we'll explore in detail what would happen to the world if all human beings simply disappeared year after year. And get ready, the answers are as fascinating as they are scary. In the first few minutes after humanity's disappearance, the world would still seem normal. Lights on, planes in the air, machines running. But this wouldn't last long. Without anyone to control the systems, the power would start to fail within a few hours. Power plants would shut down as soon as the operators disappeared. Entire cities would be plunged into darkness. Planes in the sky would fall. Without drivers, cars would be abandoned on the roads. Elevators would stop between floors. And in a few hours, the modern world would begin to fall apart. In just one day, absolute silence would take over everything. And then, the Earth would slowly begin to reconnect with its wild side. After a week, pets would face their first challenges. Without humans to feed or protect them, many dogs and cats would starve or be hunted. Wild animals like rats, birds, and boars would quickly take over urban spaces. Cities like New York and Sao Paulo would become true urban ecosystems, with wolves, coyotes, and birds of prey hunting in the streets. Farm animals would invade urban areas, and without our presence, the laws of nature would once again rule everything. Forests would begin to grow where there was once concrete. Trees would sprout on the sidewalks, and the once trimmed gardens would turn into dense thickets. Nature would begin to erase our tracks. After a year, the lack of maintenance would cause irreversible damage to man-made structures. Roofs would collapse, buildings would crumble, bridges would give way. Uncontrolled natural fires would spread, destroying entire neighborhoods. Dams would break, flooding cities with mud and water. The weather would also begin to transform the scenery. Snow covering large cities. Extreme heat cracking the asphalt. Railroads would rust. Roads would be swallowed by vegetation. In places with high humidity, like the Amazon, greenery would take over everything in record time. Wildlife would adapt to the new ruins. Zebras could stroll down avenues and jaguars prowl empty parking lots. Without our presence, the planet would reorganize itself with impressive speed. 50 years later, the big cities would be unrecognizable. Forests would have swallowed entire cities. The seas would be cleaner, with coral reefs recovering and fish populations booming. The air would be cleaner with no smoke, no pollution. Endangered species like elephants and rhinos would spread back across their former territories. With the end of hunting and habitat destruction, biodiversity would explode like never before. CO2 emissions would drop drastically. The ozone layer would regenerate. The Earth, which for centuries suffered from human activity, would begin a natural healing process. The planet would become a more balanced place, but at the same time, everything we built would begin to crumble. 100 years after human disappearance, our great landmarks would already be in ruins. The Eiffel Tower, Christ the Redeemer, the Statue of Liberty, corroded by rust, wind, and rain. Skyscrapers would collapse. Cities would become ghost forests. Some structures would last longer. The Great Wall of China, for example, could last for centuries. But most urban structures wouldn't withstand time without maintenance. Satellites without adjustments would fall back to Earth, and space junk would become a new ring around the planet. Meanwhile, the oceans would slowly absorb our plastics and toxic waste until marine life could regenerate. For the first time in centuries, the Earth would be free from human influence. 1,000 years would pass. The civilizations we know would have turned to dust. Only ruins covered by vegetation would remain. Some pyramids, perhaps, would still be standing. But most of our marks would have disappeared. And here comes the big question. If some alien civilization or new intelligent species emerged in the future, would they be able to discover that we once existed here? Or would our time on Earth be just a legend lost in the dust of time? The scariest thing is to think that even after all our technology, achievements, and history, the Earth wouldn't miss us. It would go on, alive, vibrant, regenerating itself as if nothing had happened. In the end, imagining a world without humans isn't just a fictional exercise. It's a warning, a reminder that we don't own the planet. We're just temporary tenants. Everything we build can disappear, but nature always finds a way to continue. And now I want to know, do you think humanity is leaving a positive legacy? Or are we just delaying the inevitable? Leave your opinion in the comments. Subscribe to the channel and hit the bell so you don't miss the next videos. Because here we show you what the world doesn't want you to know. See you next time.